I'm Guinea Pig, and today I'm going to be teaching you some fire safety and how to put out a fire and how to make a fire. So, the very first thing you're going to need to know are the different types of fire, the wood to make the fire. So, first type is tinder. Tinder is very, very small, and it is smaller than the length of your pinky, width of your pinky. It can be as long as you want, as long as it's not too large and it's smaller than the width of your pinky. It needs to be smaller than that. The next size up, which is also very important, is kindling. Kindling, this is actually very small kindling. Kindling is quite a deal larger than tinder, but it's still not huge. You don't want to be grabbing logs for your kindling. Kindling can be a little bit bigger than your pinky, but still not massive. The very last size, which is essentially everything that is bigger than kindling. It can be this size, it can be big, it can be huge. So, now I'm going to show you how the formation of this size is called fuel. Fuel is the biggest size. So, the next step, once you know that your different types of wood, is to gather the types of wood. But I already have them all gathered. You would have to go into a local park, or if we were at camp, you could go around and you could pick up the different types of wood. So, to build your fire, you're first going to want to start with your A formation. It sounds pretty much exactly how it goes. You start with one, put the other on top, and you make a little triangle. I'll flip it around so it's easier for you guys to see. And then take the last piece and you put it across to make a little A. Now that you've made your little A, you're going to want to take your tinder and grab it into a handful, kind of compressing it. Ideally, you would want to have a Coke can size of tinder, but we unfortunately do not have that today. So you're going to take it, you're going to put it in your little cylinder. Try and keep as many pieces possible because this is very important. I'm going to put it right here on top of your A-frame. Try to keep it very tight, which can be a little difficult sometimes when it doesn't want to cooperate with you. Now that you've had your tinder on top of your frame, this is where you would light the fire. We're not going to be lighting a fire today, but I'll show you a quick kind of what you would do. You would take your way of lighting the fire, and I'm sitting from the back, but normally you would be in front of the A, and you would take it and you would put it under, and you would almost press it against the kindling underneath, so that way it would light the fire. Now that we have our fire lit, we're going to want to teach some safety. Now, I'm not wearing my aid name tag because it is long and you do not want long hanging things in front of the fire. So if you were to have your lanyard or any kind of jewelry, you'd want to take it off or put it behind you. You'd also want to put your hair up in a ponytail or keep it away from some kind. Pretty much any length that leaves your head super long, you're going to want to take it off. Like this is a little far, you might want to have to put it up. You're also going to want a shovel near you and water. You don't want to run around the fire. That's never a good idea. Do not stand in the fire circle once you have the fire. Also, when you sit by the fire, always sit with one knee like this, so that way if something happens and you accidentally get bumped or pushed or something, you are less likely to fall directly into the fire and burn yourself. So, now that we're going to put out our metaphorical fire, let me show you what you're going to do. You're going to take a bucket of water, and what you're going to want to do is you're not going to want to dump it on just like you would think. So you would take it, grab a little bit, and just sprinkle it on top. And you would do this many times wait until it stops sizzling or smoking. And then once it stops sizzling or smoking, you could move it around a little bit with your shovel, or you could just pour the water directly on top once it stops smoking. You do not want to do it when it starts smoking. You don't want to directly put this on top, because if you do, the water feeds the flames a little bit for a second, and so a big burst of fire will come out, and we do not want that. We do not want people to get hurt. So then, once it stops smoking, you would just pour the water on top. You would take your shovel, you would move it around a little bit, make sure that it's not moving, make sure it's all put out. One of the other things you're going to want to do when tending to your fire is, once you're trying to put it out, is if you put your hand over it, once you have done all the steps, make sure it's not smoking, you pour the water on top, you're going to want to put your hand over it. If it is still kind of warm, but warm enough for you to pick it up and it is not smoking, you're supposed to just take your sticks and dip it in the water. So that way there is no possible chances for possible mistakes to happen, for the fire to still come back. You're going to want to make sure that all the ashes around it are wet, make sure everything is safe, that there's no possible chance of fire. If anything, if possible, you would almost want it to be cold rather than hot, but that's very hard to do in a setting where you don't have cold water. So now that your sticks and such are all wetted and they've dunked in the water and they don't need anything anymore, you can take your shovel, and it is recommended that you move the dirt on top of it as well, also to keep it cool. And that's how you put out a fire. Make sure you put all your tools away. And that everything is safe where you come from. So that was fire safety, how to start a fire, and also how to put one out.